people watching online, just type in if you got a question for me on this. If you want to own up, where are we guilty? Dave Stagg, where are we guilty? Okay, now, do you think you've spent too much time or you should spend more time? There you go. Now, here's the deal. You think people with courage take action on things that sometimes they don't work? Yes or no? They got at least some risk tolerance. They know that it may or may not work. Okay? Now, you've heard me talk about the Greatness Factory that I haven't built yet. I paid $500,000 for the lot to build the Greatness Factory in Murfreesboro. I paid $90,000 for the plans. I spent $90,000 on the plans. I bought a lot for $500,000 that I still own, that we have done not one thing with. But it ain't because we ain't done one thing with it. We just been trying to figure out how do we make it work. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Now, you tell me, is that a wasted opportunity? What if I come back and build it a little bit different than I thought I was going to build it, but now we've got 3 new components to it that can make more money, right? And 2 new revenue sources, and it's a better deal. See, a lot of people say, Coach, you wasted a lot of money on that right there. I hadn't wasted it. I learned a whole lot. Number one, I learned that you can't build something progressive in Murfreesboro. Because they said the building was too progressive. Said my building was so far out there, it looked like from another planet, that they wanted me to conform the building to make it look like every other building in Murfreesboro. And I said, well, that defeats the whole purpose of what I'm trying to do. I want it to be different than every other building in Murfreesboro. I don't want it to look like everything else. Okay? And that's just little tiny local thinking that people have. So I don't see that as a wasted opportunity. I see it as, hey, we ain't got it all figured out yet, but I'm going to figure it out. And in the interim, I'm still paying for the land that I own. Everybody see that? But I'm willing to do what? Take the risk. I'm willing to take a risk on that, knowing it may not come home. When I buy these real estate properties, I don't know if we're going to cash flow them or not. I think we will. I think they're going to work, but they may not work, right? That's a risk. So for you, you may think that's a problem. Tommy, which one are you guys guilty of?
Us or me?
You?
I probably don't spend enough time with customers.
Okay. You probably need to spend more time with customers, and why don't you?
Because I don't like people.
Yeah, because you don't like people. All right, good. It is hard spending time with a lot of customers when you have a lot of customers. It is. Calling your customers every day and engaging with them and spending time with them is something most people do not want to do. Everybody with me? But that's where your referrals are coming from. And I just have a little saying I say to myself, anytime I don't want to talk to a customer, here's what I tell myself. Every car I've ever driven, every house I've ever lived in, every dream I've ever had was funded by my customers. Right or wrong? Everything I've ever had in my life was funded by my customers. They paid for it. I may not like all of them every day. They may act crazy. They may be mean. Some of them may be unappreciative. But it don't matter. Those are feelings, right or wrong. You don't have to like a person that comes in and buys a mattress from you. Who cares? You're not going to like everybody. You're not going to like every person you do a real estate transaction with. Who cares? Don't get mad at your money. Right? So Brittany, what was yours?
Well, my husband said that mine was low and I want to go set.
Okay.
But I would say mine, I would personally be spending money on new ideas and programs that may work.
Okay, good. Now, when you spend money on these new ideas and programs, remember when we did a class a few months ago on untapped potential or hidden potential? Okay? What that means is there's programs you have that you're not utilizing to the highest level, number one. You're not maximizing this program. Like the dealership I was with yesterday said, oh, you already pegged us in the first day. We're doing a terrible job of getting referrals out of our current clients. We ought to be getting 5.7 referrals out of every deal like you said. They said if you help us with this one thing, every dollar we spend with you will be well worth it. It took me all of the first hour to figure that out. I said, here's 4 areas you're losing money. Which one is it? They said, we don't call our customers. We don't call people after we sell them a car or truck like we should. We don't engage with them like we should. We don't ask for referrals like we should. We don't have events like we should. We don't do whatever like we should. Okay, good. If we solve that one problem, how much more money will we make if we got 6 deals off every one deal? There you go. So, but here's the deal. They may try things. We're going to try customer appreciation events that don't work. We're going to have parties that people don't come to. We're going to do things that just don't work. But the point is we need to be trying things. Does that make sense? We need to be trying things. Now, here's the what if of this. Will Webb, what was yours?
Mine was the spending money on ideas.
Okay. Spending money just on ideas, man. I would tell you every single one of you need to be spending more money on your skill set. If you ask me, the number one thing that I spend money on is my skill set. How do I communicate better? How do I write better? How do I coach better? How do I negotiate better? These are skills I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get better at. Everybody understand? That you got, every one of you, that should be for every one of you. You should be skilling up more. I'm telling you, that's an area that every person can make more money in. You just get better. Like I was on a talk show today, a New York City talk show, and the woman was asking me, like, how did you become so confident? How did you do this? Like, what do you think the number one thing people could need to be doing? And I said, they need to be honing a skill set that becomes so valuable that people would pay a lot of money for it. You follow what I'm saying? Whatever that skill set is, communication, selling, overcoming objection, enthusiasm toward a close, follow up. You need to refine your skills and spend the money it takes to refine your skills. So what if, here's the what if part of this. What if the marketing did work and you became a big star? What if the employees allowed you to play in your unique ability area and scale your company? What if your idea turned into millions of dollars? What if your first employee allowed you to 4 times your income? What if your new skill set demands infinitely more money? What if 1 out of every 10 opportunities do work? That's the positive of this, if you're willing to give it a shot. Okay? So what I'm trying to do is build a little courage muscle in you, where you got the guts to walk out of here tonight and do something you ain't been doing. Okay? That was my whole goal of this whole course. So when you think about these deals, look at number 3. For a long time, I've known a guy named Paul Martinelli. Martinelli, I met 10 years ago, and he was the person who went to John Maxwell, who's a leadership coach, and he told Maxwell, he said, I want to help you scale out your company. I want to build a certification program. And I've done it for Bob Proctor, and I've done it for Zig Ziglar, and I've done it for this, and I want to do it for you. Okay? And Maxwell says, sure. You just tell me what I need to do, and let's do it. And I'll keep peace, you keep a peace, right? Well, Martinelli grew that coaching program to 30,000 certified coaches for Maxwell, and he generated $150 million that they are now doing $30 million annually in that program. This was a program Maxwell didn't even have. He brought it to Maxwell and said, let me handle it. I know how to do it. You just be John Maxwell. Right? $30 million a year annually. I met him 10 years ago. In my mind, for 10 years, what have I been saying to myself, Dave? I need to know him. I need to talk to him. I need to call him, but I never did do it. He'd come back around and, man, I need to call Paul Martinelli. I need to call Paul Martinelli. And one day, I finally like, you know what, I'm sick of telling myself this. I picked up the phone and I called his office and I said, look, I'm Coach Burt. I live in Tennessee. I speak and coach and have a coaching business. I'd like to spend some time with Mr. Martinelli. How much is that going to cost me? And the woman said, sure. You can spend 90 minutes with him for $2,200. We will not schedule the appointment until we are paid in full, and he only has 2 times he can meet with you. Which one would you like? And I said, oh, I'll take that one. And I spent 90 minutes with Paul Martinelli, and he told me step by step what they were doing to generate $30 million. And we recorded the call. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. Told me everything I needed. Now, how stupid do you think I felt for waiting 10 years to call this dude? Here's the bigger question. If somebody knew something that you know, would you spend the $2,200 to learn it? Or would you be scared to death? When she said $2,200, I said, is that it? For a dude who has brought in $150 million the last 10 years and knows how to do this? Shoot, man, sign me up for 2 of them sessions. Here's my point. 9 out of 10 people I coach would not spend the $2,200. They'd be scared to death. Everybody see that? I got everything I need in the first 10 minutes of the conversation. And guess what? By the end of the conversation, he started using the word perhaps. Now, Tommy, what does that mean when a person started using the word perhaps? Means I'm open now. You know what he said? Perhaps we could partner with you, Coach Burt. He said, John's been looking for a whippersnapper that's got the kind of energy you got. He said, perhaps you could be one of our faculty members. Perhaps we could give all 30,000 of our people your coaching program, and you could give all of your people his coaching program. He said, would you be open to that? So I went from not knowing him to, by the end of the conversation, perhaps we can partner with each other. Now I'm going to have access to 30,000 new people that are paying $5,000 a year, right? Now I've got an in with Maxwell, all because I was willing to spend $2,200. Everybody see that? I would have never had that opportunity if I wouldn't have spent that money to spend time with him. That opened the door to the conversation. Everybody with me? Now, so would you make these moves? Would you make these moves? Okay, that's a question for you. Now, you guys have heard about when I spoke at 10X, one of the things that guaranteed I was going to speak at 10X is I was having a conversation with Cardone, and Cardone, I said, do you think I'm good enough to speak at 10X? He said, I do. I said, well, why haven't you asked me to speak at 10X? And he said, well, I'm spending $4 million on this. I've spent $4 million in Mandalay Bay, and I got to get big name people. And he has, you know, I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I don't want to be a taker. I want to be a giver. If I reached in my back pocket and pulled out a check, and I wrote you a check for $100,000, and I bought 50 VIP tickets right now, would that guarantee that I'd speak at 10X? What do you think he said? He said, yeah, I think that'd work. So I reached in my back pocket and I wrote a check for $100,000. I didn't ask my wife. I didn't call my team. I didn't have to sleep on it or pray about it. Who was I betting on? Me. I had no idea how I was going to make that money back. None. I come home and I go, okay, what can I do? Oh yeah, I could take these tickets, package them up, add my coaching program to it, add a big party out in Vegas. I can resell those tickets. So on the $100,000 investment, we turn around and sold those tickets for $5,000. So on a $100,000 investment, I made $250,000 in 6 months. And I got to speak on stage, of which we made $1 million more because I spoke at 10X. Now, who was I betting on there? Would you have done that? Would you have pulled out your checkbook and wrote a check for $100,000? Because that's the kind of stuff you got to do to get in the game. Does that make sense? Now, I'm telling you this not to brag. I'm telling you because I don't know where that courage even came from in me. I just had it. I said, I ain't leaving here until I'm on that stage.